Pastor Steve mentioned that Mom had everything planned down to the Bible verses and the songs sung. Just as a disclaimer, I would like to say that she had nothing to do with the next 5 or 10 minutes. I would like to also thank all the beloved family members and dear friends who have come to celebrate her life and mourn her passing. My name, for those of you I haven't had the pleasure to meet, is Alan. I'm the oldest son and the role model for the younger siblings. Could I get a show of hands? How many sons are here today? I'm guessing like around 50%, maybe 40%. Okay. And how many of you had mothers? I'm guessing maybe 50%. And I'm guessing also that your mother, like mine, taught you many valuable lessons. Maybe unlike me, you absorbed the lessons and retained the knowledge. I was not the greatest student, but my mother was always willing to teach the lessons. And one of the things one of the lessons she taught me was the value of hard work, dedication, reliability, dependability. And she and Gail would come down when she still lived here every Saturday, and they would sweep the church and empty the waste baskets and arrange the hymnals and do all the things that custodians do. And one weekend I was visiting from my home near Harrisburg, and Gail was away, so I brought Mom down, and we ran the sweeper, and we did all the things the custodians do. And I needed to get a little break because I tire kind of easily. I'm not as I didn't have the stamina that she had. So I pulled out my phone and I took a picture of her sweeping in the back here. And we finished up, and she shut the sweeper off, and she kind of leaned back against the wall, and she said, I'm going to tell them at the next church board meeting that they're going to have to find a new 93-year-old woman to take over. And I said, you missed the spot right there. I was actually taken right. So we left there, and we went right up the road to her house, and she said, I want you to help me do some planting. She gave me a little garden implement, and then she would have worked my finger to the bone if I couldn't have found some way to take a little break. And so I did say, well, can we take a little break and recreate an American iconic piece of art? And so this was the best we could do, Eric. and so she said, well, now that you've taken your little break, why don't you take your little break and get yourself back to work? So then about that was 4 years or so ago. Then Susan and Kevin graciously moved her into their home in Virginia, and I had the flexibility to go down and try to help out a little bit. Susan and Kevin were working from home, so I would stay for a 3 or 4 day spell, and I would take her to doctor's appointments, or one time we stopped for lunch, and that cost me $18, I think. And one of the things that I always did was I would take her out for a little exercise if the weather was nice. We'd take a wheelchair, and we'd have her walk around the block, and she'd push it as far as she could until she tired, and then I would take over and I would push her the rest of the way. And Erica, I believe we have a little video clip of me pushing her. Erica, is that the one that that's a little embarrassing. Can you check the next one? I think it's on the next one. Can we go through these slides? Well, could we at least zoom in to see if she's concerned about her second favorite son? What we would do is, as I said, it was last summer that Kevin and Susan were expanding the parking area at the top of their driveway, and so we would go out for our daily walk. And Mom said, I wonder what they're going to do to the driveway. I said, well, they're not going to do anything to the driveway. Susan said they're just expanding and beautifying the parking at the top of the driveway. And so we go around the block, and she pointed at the neighbor. She said, oh, that driveway looks nice. It would be nice if Susan and Kevin did something like that. And I said, well, they're not going to do anything to the driveway. They're just expanding and beautifying the parking lot. And then we get to the other end of the block, and she'd see another neighbor. She'd say, look at that driveway. And then we get back, and she'd say, I wonder if those workmen, how long are they going to be here? I said, a couple more days to expand and beautify the parking area at the top of the driveway. And then the second day, we would go down, and the workmen had gotten more than halfway. And she said, I wonder what they're going to do to the driveway. And I said, well, they're not going to do anything to the driveway. And then we got down to the other end of the block, and she pointed at the driveway. And then the third day, we got to the end of the block, and I said, they're not going to do anything to the driveway. I said, that's the two of us, you and me, I and you, make a solemn and sacred vow that we will never let the word driveway escape from our lips again. We'll never let it tumble from our tongue. We'll never let it slip from our lips. We'll never utter it. We will never mutter it. And I said, and furthermore, let us consecrate and keep this promise here in the solitude and serenity and the sunshine of 2nd Street here in the city with a pinky swear. So we touched pinkies, and we started back home, and I could see her looking at the neighbor's driveway. I said, nope, 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 nope. Nothing there. Keep moving. I said, that is simply a hardened black auto access path to the domicile. And then we got to another one that she always pointed out. I said, nope, 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 nothing there. I said, these people got tired of cutting their grass, so they put a double wide, flat, black, hardened grass growth retardant. And we got back to Kevin and Susan's auto access. And I went down and said, now, what is that word that you and I have solemnly agreed never to utter, never to mutter, never to let escape from our lips, never to let slip from our tongue? And she looks down and she goes, D. Very good. So I pushed her up the auto access into the house. And I left that night back from my house and stayed for about a week. And returned the next week to help. And I pulled into a nice, shiny, black, hardened, recently sealed driveway. And I took Mom out that day later for her exercise. And we got down to the bottom of the driveway, and she said, their auto access looks nice, doesn't it? So in February, I think she took ill, had a condition where she was confused and suffering some minor hallucinations, and was in the hospital for maybe 7 or 8 days. And I would go in kind of early, like 10:30, and I'd sit by her bedside and help with the meal tray when it came. And one day the 2 nurses came in, and they said we're just going to take some vitals and reposition her in the bed. And I said, do you want me to step out? And they said, no, just step over by the wall. And so she had been put on a fall alert, and somehow they had failed to set the brakes. So when they shifted her, the hospital escapee alarm went off in my ear. and I told the nurses, I said, I'll be back. I'm gonna run down to the gift shop and see if I can buy a set of those rifle range ear protectors or baggage handler protectors, and get a cup of coffee, and I'll come back. So I went down, and they did not sell those items. I did get coffee, and by then the nurses were gone, and Jerry Springer show was on the TV overhead, and volume was up. Either mom had turned it up or the nurses, and a nice soothing blood pressure alarm was beeping over on the side, and I wiped some coagulated blood from my shoulder, and I sipped on my coffee, and mom had dozed off. And then I crossed in front of her bed to throw the coffee cup away, and she woke up and she said something to me which I didn't pick up on, and I inclined my good ear to her. I said, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" And she said, "You need to get hearing aids." And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "But what did you say a second ago?" And she said, "You need to get hearing aids." And I said, "Well, let me run back down to the gift shop. They sell those, and I will be back, and we will resume this conversation." So from that, I learned that even if you can't hear or understand what your mother is saying, her concern is always there. And she did recover from that, and spent, as Susan and Gail called her, the comeback queen. She was on hospice, and she got a deluxe hospital bed. She had a musical therapist come in, a massage therapist, and one day we were waiting for the nurse to come for a routine visit, and she looked so good. She was sitting up in bed, all dressed up, and Susan says, "Can you try to look more pitiful? I'm afraid they're going to take away all our benefits." Let's just keep that little insurance scam here in mind. Now, when our beloved father, Billy Rishel, passed away, a few years later, she met and married Billy McGee. She had a affinity for men named Bill. And there's a picture, and what I learned was that sometimes it's not as important what you say to a woman as what you don't say. And so my mother was an excellent cook, always willing to try a new recipe. And Bill had a few years on her. He had 2 hearing aids, and one day she decided to make a Reuben casserole, and it was turned out to be not a favorite. It was like a large soggy Reuben sandwich covered with mushroom soup and rock salt, and so we ate it all because that's what we had. And after the meal, most everybody went walking off to watch a football game or maybe go in search of a faucet like a